Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 9 of Local to Global. Of course, in case you missed the last episode, I seriously suggest you go back and watch it if you haven't watched it yet. It's quite a long one, it went for about an hour and 15 minutes, but so much happened. First of all, we hired a new wrestler, who's now a part of our roster. We then ran a few shows, I think it was three shows in total. And yeah, some things happened. We lost our best wrestler on our roster. Obviously, you can tell by the title of that episode, he was signed by TCW. The best wrestler that we actually wanted to sign, essentially for right now, was also signed by TCW. So yeah, we lost TCW signed Ernest Youngman, who was going to be one of our pickups for our size that we've just got up to, which was the other thing that happened in the episode. We went up to tiny size, which is awesome. However, with tiny comes a few interesting things. Now, we go to size. As you can see, we're 18 popularity. Obviously, we only needed 17 to go up to tiny. So we managed to do that. But as you can see, at this level, CWC are eligible to be a part of regional battles when they hold shows. So yeah, we're now in regional battles. Now, if I go down here to battles, as you can see, regional battles in Ontario. There is that many companies currently holding shows. Well, I'm not sure if this is a weird one. I think these are all, yeah, so these are the companies that actually qualify for regional battles. But I'm not sure if all of these companies that are on WrestleWorld, I'm not sure if we verse them in regional battles. I'm not 100% sure. And I only say that because I am not sure how the broadcasting works. Because obviously they will be broadcasting to Ontario. But in my mind, I'm thinking that it's only if you actually run the shows in that place. I might be wrong, because I never really had to deal with the issue of broadcasters with regional battles, because obviously on 2016 and 2013, there essentially was no broadcasters for the sort of regional or small levels and below. This is going to be something interesting. It's going to be very difficult if that is the case, because obviously all of those companies are a lot better than us at the moment. I also wanted to give you, before we get into things, a bit of a brief rundown about Black Maple. Now, as you can see, they've actually got up to 8 popularity in Ontario, which I think is really, really good, considering I'm pretty sure they've only run... Yeah, they've only run the 12 shows. They run one show per month, which is more or less exactly what we've been doing to an extent. Also, their first show was in front of 46 people. So I'm guessing, well, there's at least a possibility that they're doing free tickets as well. I wonder if there's any way we could actually check that. Probably not. But it's very interesting. Obviously, we are still at war with them, so if we want to try and sign some people, which we are going to be doing first of all for the episode, if we sign their workers, they will essentially leave Black Maple. Now, the one thing I did want to do before we do this is to actually go into the editor. I want to go into Black Maple, and I essentially want to give them... I think we'll give them 500,000. Hopefully that'll tie them over for at least like a year or two. So I'm hoping, yeah. I think giving them 500,000 now is like a sort of... It's a good move, because obviously it's going to keep them alive, which is the most important thing, because that is essentially what I want. But basically, so Honest Frank, in game terms, he is investing $500,000 of his own money back into the company, because, you know, he's been fairly impressed by what they're doing. Their last show was really good. They got a 68 overall with a 73 rated main event. And of course, Ant-Man being a part of it. pretty much a guy I refused to sign, and he was actually really, really good. There we go. Also worth mentioning that Acpw is essentially, I would say they're kind of, basically all the best workers that work for Acpw work for Black Maple. So that's what I was trying to say. Now, as you can see, we need to sign at least 7 more wrestlers before we get into our next pay-per-view. And we actually need to sign 8 because Logan is going to be leaving us in a few days' time. Yeah, he's got 6 days left. So here we go. It's gonna be probably at least about 15, maybe 20 minutes of us signing new members for our roster. Now, guys like Alan Parent, who does work for Black Maple, if we were to sign him, assuming they don't make a better offer, he would probably come to us. Because we're obviously the biggest size company. Also worth mentioning, Angry Gilmore is available on a contract. However, obviously at the moment we're too small to actually sign him. And he wants $2,300 per month. So yeah. Now I was thinking about Art Reed. He's 45 years old. He's professional, better as a babyface. So we're going to be bringing in the faces and heels relatively soon. Once I think the roster is at a good enough position. He's really good. I think he would be a smart decision. He's got a little bit of popularity, but nothing too special. Obviously, majority of his popularity is in Japan. And I guess a bit in the tri-state there as well. Because he used to work for Dave back in the day. It's going to be, a little bit pricey, but that's not too bad. I think we go for him. Like I said, we kind of need some older workers. He's got pretty good psychology, decent basics. 160 is not too bad. I mean, I don't think we're going to be able to get him any cheaper. His travel costs are not going to be covered as he lives in Ontario. So that's actually really decent. And I think he might actually take 150. Let me actually lower that even further. Let's go like 120. And we'll do events in Asia. Let's go 100 just to see where he's at. It's okay, so he wants a little bit more. Let's just keep increasing it until he, essentially takes the bait. Alright, so he wants 140, which we are saving a little bit of money. Still wants 15% of merchandise, so that's fine. Do we want to put something else on his contract as well? Let's make him a gatekeeper. I think we go with gatekeeper. Maybe to pass the torch. Let's go to pass the torch, I think. Well, he actually wants 160 now. Maybe we won't do that. Yeah. Actually, let's see. What about as a gatekeeper? So he still wants more money. Let's literally just go normal. Cheap as possible. There we go. Alright, Art Reed. I think he's good. I think he's going to be a good pickup. Like I said, we need at least 1 or 2 older guys that are, really established already. And I think he's a decent person to get in. This could be our next sort of senior statesman. I was possibly thinking Barry Kingman as well. But he's a little bit older. He's actually a little bit cheaper as well, but he doesn't have any popularity. Still all in the red. I don't know about him. He's also American. Like I said, I want to try and get at least a few Canadian wrestlers in. Now, Bobby Thomas, on the other hand, is probably the only Black Maple guy, as you can see, that I would actually like to get in. As you can see, he's got decent popularity already in Canada. He is 44, so he would be the other sort of senior statesman. A little bit lower in Ontario, unfortunately, but nothing we can do there. He looks pretty good. I do like him, and he can play the heel to Art Reed. So, I don't know. I feel like that could be a pretty good storyline going forward. Him and Bobby Thomas. And of course, they are both Canadian, so it does kind of make sense. Let's have a look. Now, he's going to be super expensive. Maybe we don't do that, actually. I think he's on the shortlist. Oh, he's not on the shortlist. Okay, we'll put him on the shortlist. We'll come back to him. Now, Bowden Snoop. This is a guy we looked at last episode. Well, he's freshly new to the game. When did he come in? He came in September. Graduate of the House of Stone. And I kind of like him. He is a high flyer. Got some technical ability there. He's relatively good. Got a relaxed mentality as well, or personality, I should say. Let's get him in. He's only going to be 20. And he's also living in Quebec, so we don't have to pay for travel either. That's obviously going to help our financial situation out a little bit more as well. Perfect. 18-year-old Canadian, Bowden Snoop. Welcome to the coalition. Alright, let's go through. Now, I did want to bring in at least 1 or 2 tag teams. Now, these are the guys that we were looking at quite a bit previously. And that is Brett Kyle and his tag team partner. And, yeah, Taylor Norton as Young and Wasted. Now, they do work for FCW, so they will be gaining popularity. I'm just a little bit worried, like, with that, because, of course, the price is going to go up. But they are super, super talented. Do we go for it? That is the question. It's going to be relatively cheap, 50 per show. I think we should just go for it. I think I want to kind of sign a relatively big roster anyway. He's not going to take 40, unfortunately. So let's get him in for 50. We'll get his tag team partner in as well. And they will essentially be our first ever tag team in the company. Let's go a little bit further down. Let's see what else we've got. Now, we could actually bring in Captain Canada again. He does look pretty good, man. I feel bad. I feel bad for kind of essentially throwing him away. But yeah, Charlie Corner was another guy we were looking at in the last episode as well. He does look really good. Little bit of negative stuff there. He's irrepressible, a motor mouth. He's also money motivated. But you know what? He's unemployed, so we can get him in for $30 per show. He's relatively good. Is he a face or a heel? It doesn't necessarily say. He's easily marketable, though, so that's kind of cool. So Charlie Corner's going to come in. Chip Martin was another guy we were looking at, who's professional. I'm not sure if we'll get him in, though. Another son of a former wrestler. Interesting. Alright, let's just go down and have a look at who else is sort of available. We also probably have to think about getting an announcer in as well at some stage. I mean, Davis Wayne Newton would be a very, very solid person to get in. It's going to be super expensive, though, I would think. $400 per show. I mean, that's actually not too bad for a guy of his quality. And he is quality. Look at that star quality there. He's also Canadian, so I kind of like that. I kind of like it, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, nah. We don't really want Dean McWade. Alright, who's this guy? Dylan Leclerc. I mean, he's a smoker. He looks pretty good, but I don't know. Dirty Frank, I think we'll take a miss on him. Alright, so there's Elliot Laurent, who has the really, really good entertainment stats. Actually, speaking of that, Let's get Gary the Entertainer, because I was talking about him quite a lot. So I'm sure his name's coming up very close. Flash Savage. He's a mercenary. I don't like being a mercenary. I do like him though. He's going to be expensive. Oh yeah, never mind. 1,000 per show. I don't think so. Alright, so we got Froshaw. Obviously, I know a lot of you guys want him. I think we will try and get him at some stage down the line. But at the moment, 900 per show. We can't afford that type of financial outlay. But there is Gary the Entertainer. Now, I do want to bring him in as Gary Walker, because I much prefer that name. I don't really like the sort of nickname Gary the Entertainer. But he is unemployed as well, so let's get him in. Only going to be 50 per show. I think that's good. Also, got the really good microphone ability. He's also actually pretty good in the ring, to be fair. He's unpredictable, though. So that could be a bit of an issue. 26, so he's not exactly young by any sort of stretch of the imagination anymore. But I think he'll be a decent little fit. And he'll be able to get some decent ratings through promos and stuff like that. Alright. I mean, no one else here really stands out too much. Maybe Hudson Drake. Yeah, I mean, Human Arsenal would be another really decent guy to bring in. Really got the sort of solid wrestling ability. Would actually make a really good mentor for someone on our roster. Anyway, let's go down a little bit more. Got James Justice there as well. Obviously, 50 years old. We're not going to be able to afford him either, because he's going to be quite expensive. Who's this guy? Jason Patterson. I tell you what, he actually doesn't look too bad. Jason Patterson. I might come back to him. I think okay, he's not on the shortlist. I was hoping he would be on the shortlist. Anyway. Jay Becker. Jay Becker's pretty good. Got a gloomy personality, though. I don't like that. Jazz Funk could be another good Canadian option. Lacking a little bit in psychology for a 36-year-old, though. Maybe we take a miss on him. Get him on the shortlist anyway, for the future, possibly. Now, Jeremy Courtney is a guy that I often overlook when he's on the TCW roster. And you know what? I'm going to overlook him again. Sorry, mate. But Joe Roberts, this is another guy we looked at last episode. Could be a... Actually, never mind. I thought he was 23 years old. He's 33. Never mind. Okay. Alright. Who else have we got down here? I mean, called a tag. Eh... If they're young, I want them to have, you know, decent star quality. Kenneth Grunge. Too much of a project there. Yeah, I mean, I thought that might have been an option in Crusher Karlov, but I don't think so. Who's this guy? Larry Sapir. 10 basics, not going to cut it, really. I mean, Lionheart? Lionheart could be a good option. Maybe not. 35-year-old with only 49 psychology. Not going to cut it. Just not going to cut it for our company. You know, we're looking for quick progress. Mark Starr. Got a lot of menace, a lot of star quality. Really, really good physical abilities there as well. He's selfish, though. Never mind. I do want to go for the good personalities. Obviously, Marcel is also selfish, which is the reason why he was such a problem for us. I was going to say a bad word then, but I don't think I will. Because, you know, he is a former champion, so let's just leave it at that. But he did essentially destroy my my backstage rating completely. Between him and whatever the other guy's name was, I can't even remember. literally like blocked him out of my mind. Mighty Kavanaugh, really want to get him in at some stage. Down the line. Wondering if we get Maroy and his tag team partner Babao, because they really are a solid tag team. They actually wouldn't 400 per show. I feel like that's just a little bit too much. Murray Firth, there he is. That was his name. Bloody Murray. I tell you what, Mutant looks really good. It's going to be too expensive, though, for now. Yeah, 700 per show. Unfortunate. What about Nathaniel Casino? Of course, he's a former 4C wrestler in Canada. Anyway. Let's keep going through. And I'll just see if anyone stands out. I mean, Aussie Goldstein used to be Aussie Golden. He could be good. He actually has the psychology and the basics and the star quality. Better as a heel. He's got popularity, 400 per show. I mean, he's a former CGC Canadian champion, or two-time champion. He also chose not to sign for CWA, although he was offered a deal. That kind of makes me like him a little bit more. He's also 34, so he's not young, which I kind of like. Does he have that? He doesn't have any alter egos. You think he would keep Aussie Golden? You think he would keep that alter ego? I guess not. Anyway, do I want to sign him? Shortlist. I think I do want to sign him, though. I think I do. The Canadian Blondes. Who else is in the Canadian Blondes? Flash Savage. Okay. I mean, Flash was way too expensive. He's only going to be, what, 400 per show? Of course, we could do 400 because Americana's on over 400 and Kamikaze, I think, is relatively close to 400 as well. I do like him. I really do like him. We'll come back to him as well. Who's this? Paul Waterman. Selfish. Moving on. I mean, Philip Legronier. 260 per show. He's not as good. He's also prickly and a smoker. I do like Philip Legronier, though. Another former CGC guy. I like his moustache, to be fair. Do we go for him? Oh, I think I prefer Aussie. Yeah, I think I prefer Aussie. Loner personality? He's not good enough. Ooh, looks like... Oh, Raphael got hired by Acpw. That's actually not good because I wanted to sign him. Yeah. I was actually going to sign Raphael. He's only going to be 210 per show. I guess the question is, like, do we sign him now? Before his price, starts to skyrocket because of the... Oh no, he's been with ACPW. Okay, never mind. I thought, yeah, for some reason I thought he was unemployed. I guess not. Just kind of looking through here. I'm not seeing too much. I mean, Riley Patton. was a guy we were thinking about getting. I mean, Robin Newman. We can get Robin. I do like Robin Newman. Yeah, let's get him. He's only going to be 30. That's pretty cheap. And I mean, he's just going to be a jobber for us anyway, so it's perfect. He's got the really good selling. He's really consistent as well. So that's pretty good. The Picture of Prettiness, Rocco Renoir. Rick Reynolds. I prefer his real name. Rick Reynolds. Anyway, are we getting Rockin' Ryan Turner? He's sort of been offered to us quite a bit, especially through the hidden gems. I don't know. He is really, really good on the mic. His top, primary skills are really good as well. Just lacking a little bit in the basics and psychology. How much is he? He's going to be cheap. He's going to be 50 per show. We may as well get him, to be honest. 50 per show is kind of nothing. And his promo ability will get him over relatively quick as well. Alright, so Roland Lachance. Yeah, I think we'll take a miss on him as well. Who else have we got? I mean, Sandman Winks was a guy we were thinking about getting for quite a while as well. Sort of back when we originally got when we signed our sort of second roster. I mean, Sky King's not too bad either. Good old Spencer. What about Stan Manor? I mean, Stan is, a pretty similar... Yeah, he's pretty similar to Rock and Ryan Turner. And of course, they were tag team partners. I mean, they're a permanent unit, 70 experience. I mean, we may as well get both of them. They're both the exact same price, so... There we go. We've got our first and second tag teams, because we're going to sign the other guy as well. Alright, so there's Taylor Norton. I just want to double check. That is his tag team partner, isn't it? Yeah, Brett Kyle. Perfect. Alright, so we'll get him in as well. Only going to be 50. So I would say, most of this roster that we're bringing in is still relatively cheap. Which it needs to be, because we're only, 4,500 in the black at the moment. We were also talking a lot about the Masked Mauler 7. Yes, I feel like we have a lot of heals, so maybe we don't get him in. I mean, I would like to get Tim Westybrook, but again, we can't afford him yet. What about Toma? Former soft drug user. I do like him, though. $130 per show. Maybe we don't go for him, actually. Just trying to be a little bit, a little bit smarter with the options that we're going for. I mean, this guy is actually not too bad, but that 12 psychology and the intense personality doesn't really float my boat. We did talk about War Peace as well. I kind of don't want to get him, though. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about him. I just don't... I don't know. We had him on my 2016 New York City Wrestling Series. Which is pretty funny. I mean, we could essentially get another tag team in and just go for both these guys. So Wolfie Tag and Calder Tag. The hot tags. They are brothers and they are Canadian. They're not Canadian? I thought they were Canadian. Oh, that sucks. I guess it's the beanie that threw me off. Oh, I actually thought they were Canadian, so that's unfortunate. Anyway. What about Zippy? I think Zippy was pretty good, wasn't he? Yeah, really good on the mic. He's actually quite good all round, actually. He's a comedy match worker, but I think we can work around that. Maybe Zippy and Gary could do something together. Become a tag team themselves. They're both really good on the mic. Let's get him in. He's going to be really cheap, and I think having his entertainment stats is going to be quite impressive for our company. I guess the last thing is, do we want to go for Zombie Boy or Zomboy, as we could call him? He does look really talented. I feel like him and Kamikaze could have some really good high spots matches. Really good. How much is he going to be? It's going to be a little bit expensive. 100 per show. You know, I'll come back to him. Let's go back to who was the first guy that I kind of talked about. Cannot for the life of me remember what his name was. Yeah, I have no idea. I guess let's go to Aussie, maybe, because he's the only one I can really remember. Aussie Goldstein. Yeah, I think we need to. I know he's going to be super expensive, but let's bite a little bit of the bullet because he's a decent Canadian wrestler. The Aussie Goldstein, 400. I mean, can we get things a little bit lower? I guess normally would be the cheapest option, wouldn't it? I guess we can do events and A shows. We might be able to get that down to maybe 15%. We'll try no cover. Let's go 300. Okay, has to do cover. Wants higher merchandise. We'll try 15. Alright, he's going to want 20. That's unfortunate. But he'll take 300. Can we? Oh, we can't go lower, can we? That sucks, because I really wish I could have lowballed him. But I guess 300 is actually pretty good. Alright, so let's see how many that is. That's quite a lot, actually. That looks pretty good. Let's advance. Get these contracts in. And we will get into our first show of the episode after that. Our first show as a tiny size company with the added stipulation of regional battles. Could be tough, man. It could be really tough. And our popularity could be slowing down. Let's just say slowing down because of regional battles. Now, again, I'm hoping that we aren't going to have to worry about it. And what I mean by that is hopefully it only is the companies that are actually running their show. Now, of course, another guy I'm going to be signing is Yuta Asono. We're going to be signing him a little bit later on. But I haven't forgotten about him. I just want to get him in once we are a little bit more established. Ooh. What happened there? Or I guess we're just waiting for that. That's fine. Alright, so we have 18 active wrestlers. We do still have some morale issues, of course. Kamikaze had his morale issues because we essentially only gave him 25% of the wage rise request he asked for. Logan, obviously, we jobbed him out because he's leaving us. Rise hasn't left yet. And Original Sinner is upset and has morale issues because of a botched move by our boy Primetime Jack Pride. So yeah. They will all be pretty easy to get rid of, I would say. As we get our final signing in Aussie Goldstein, who I do see as a future world champion here in the coalition. Alright, so now we've got a lot of processing to do. Hopefully you guys are going to enjoy those signings that I've made. I think most of them are decent enough, and of course we made some veteran signings because I felt like we had to. We need some older hands, let's just say that. And I think we got some decent ones. We got Aussie, we got Stan Manor, Ryan Turner, and of course Art Reed. So I think all four of them are actually Canadian. So yeah, that is actually pretty cool. And I think it's going to be fun actually booking them in the main event alongside Americana and probably alongside Kamikaze as well. Purely, I think they'll be main eventers just because of their popularity. But it'll be interesting to see the rest of the roster once we actually get into booking this first show. Now, this will probably be the last show that we have one per month. Because like I said, it's all going to depend on this first month if we're actually involved in regional battles. If we are, then I think we're probably going to run more than one show and go back to normal ticket prices so we can try and maximize our attendance figures that we're going to get into the company. Because obviously with a bigger roster, we're probably going to be running more matches and probably longer pay-per-views. Actually, that's something we should maybe change right now. Let me get back in. And we are going to want to make our events, I guess an hour and a half is probably the length of time that we want. Ooh, TCW going in for Masked Cougar. Understandable with his popularity there. And of course with his skills as well. He probably would have been a decent option for a figurehead. The 88 star quality is pretty good. Lacking a bit of charisma though, I suppose. But he is, I guess he's better as a babyface. He's not 100% a babyface as well, so maybe that would have been a bad option. So who does he work for? Does he work at PSW? No. Alright, so Island Boy Apollo being offered a contract. Oh, he already works for PSW. He wants 1,000 per show. Wow. I mean, he is really, really good. Don't get me wrong. Surprised TCW didn't sign him as well. And yeah, there we go. So Logan's left his companies, and so has Ernest. I guess, yeah, I guess Island Boy was replaced, well, was brought in to replace Logan for PSW. So that's interesting. We've also got CWA, Total Elimination 4. Which is interesting. Not a great pay-per-view, though. Yeah, not a great pay-per-view. Pretty bad main event. I mean, they had a better women's match here. They got an 82. And their main event was like a 6-man tag. I mean, that seems pretty average to me. It's a really big attendance, though. I would not mind getting one of those attendances right now. Okay, so what did I want to do? I wanted to change our events. Now, we can do all this by doing this. Standardized lengths, hour and 30 minutes, and now they should all be an hour and a half. Perfect. Okay, problem solved. I guess, let's have a look at creative. That's interesting. Surprised that none of the other workers are there. Oh, probably because maybe they yet to get a perception rating. I guess that's what it is. Okay, anyway. Let's get back to advancing. We're only 13 days away from the pay-per-view now, so it's not going to take too long. But yeah, I think it's good to get an hour and a half in. Because we kind of needed the extra time. One other thing, we should make sure that the 2 tag teams have been set up, or they are set up properly already for our company. I'm excited though. I'm excited to use a bigger roster. Obviously, it's going to be a lot more fun, you know, using people that we want to use in different places. We are probably going to run into people complaining about, you know, not being used on shows. But that's just something we're going to have to deal with. It's just what we got to deal with. Hopefully it's not going to sort of tank our backstage rating, because we've already had big problems with that during the series so far. And I don't really want a repeat, if I'm being honest. You know, we got things up to what? I think on the last episode it was a 97 backstage rating. And I kind of want to keep it that way. Alright. One more week to get through here. And then I think... I'm just so curious about the regional battle. I just want to get through this first show and just find out exactly what's happening. But what we can do... We can do that Fatal 4-Way to kick things off for our main event. For the world title as well. I mean, Lee Bennett would be interesting to bring in, because obviously he has the, he's a past tag team partner for our owner, the character that I'm playing, of course, Alexander Robinson. So that could be interesting. Maybe have Lee Bennett come in and be the authority figure, perhaps. Maybe they have like a dueling relationship. That'd be pretty cool. And it could lead into maybe like a sort of Survivor Series elimination match in the future. I mean, there's some possibilities for sure to do some different things. Maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, even still. You know, we've only just gone up to tiny size. But in my head, you know, there's lots of different things. Alright. Alright, so there's Mars Cougar being hired. And I think we're only 1 day away. Yeah, so it is, in fact, tonight for victory. Let's just get into it, man. Like I said, I want to get into it. I want to get it booked. And we want to... Man, we've already been recording for 43 minutes. Did I really take that long to hire the roster? Alright. Let's pull a rib on Diaz. Nothing doing. Alright, let's get into the show. We're only expecting 238 fans. Are we still at free tickets? Yeah, we're still at free tickets. Okay, here we go. So main event. We'll book the main event first. Let's go Americana. Who else? Goldstein. Let's go for Kamikaze. And I guess Art Reed. That's a solid main event, actually. I feel like that's a really solid main event. I guess the question is, what are we going to do, though? Do we go for a new champion, or do we go for another title retain? I think I've made my decision. I think that's going to be a pretty good choice. One question, though. Does Kamikaze have enough... I think he has enough psychology to actually call the match. I think we can call this main event. I like that. We've got a lot more psychology. We also need the world title on the line as well. Otherwise, would be a pretty pointless match. Let me also check out the teams here. We're also going to need to check out storylines. Okay, that's fine. I guess tag division is probably the best way to put our newest storyline. But what are their names? Because I don't know. We got Brett Kyle. We've got Taylor Norton. We've got Rock and Ryan Turner. And we've got Stan Manor. Alright, so that's going to be another one of our storylines. Eventually, it's going to lead into a tag team title. Obviously, we have 2 singles titles, but obviously the whole game plan behind getting the Canadian championship in is that I literally want to buy the old CGC Canadian title. And then obviously we're going to use the same belt, but rebranded plates as our mid-card title, as a bit of as a bit of show of respect to what CGC was. Obviously being a true competitor to North of the Border back in the day, prior to the merge and the creation of the CWA. Okay. I guess let me just check the tag teams, which is what I wanted to do initially. Okay, so we do need to actually add them. So let's go with Stan Manor and Rock and Ryan Turner. And of course, we'll auto-name in the Rock City Stars. Add them as a team. There we go. 70 experience. That's so good. And then we've got our boys, the Young and Wasted tag team of Brett Kyle, and Taylor Norton. There we go. Young and Wasted. Perfect. Alright, so we've got our first 2 tag teams. And I do really like them, so I actually like both. Let's have their first ever tag team match. They're probably going to have a pretty long and storied rivalry together, I would say. So let's kick things off. We'll give the first victory, I guess, to Ryan Turner. Pretty much because he was linked with our company for quite some time. So there we go. As far as the rest of the roster, let's go... Oh, we need to change Gary the Entertainer's name as well. Let's do that. It is going to be Gary Walker. So let's change that. Where do we... I think I change it here, don't I? Yeah. So Gary Walker. I think that's all good. I want to make it Gary Walker. I suppose it's fine. Yes. Like I said, I much prefer Gary Walker to Gary the Entertainer. But there he is. So I guess we'll get him to take on someone else in a match. Let's do him in... Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do him and Zippy Deverell. Because they're probably going to be a tag team themselves in the future. Let's have their first ever... both of their debuts be against each other in their first match. I think that's kind of cool. Also, Art Reed is also a road agent. That's kind of cool and very helpful, actually. As long as he's not being the... Yeah, well, he's obviously not being the road agent there. Alright. Next match. We don't want to go too crazy, but yeah, we have such a big roster now. We really have a big roster. So I guess we'll do another tag match. Probably be the final match on the show. And let's go with Original Sinner and Wicked Lester. Because they were going to be a tag team. Is the whole reason why I signed Wicked Lester. And I guess they can take on the team of... go Charlie Corner and Primetime Jack Pride. Just want to see if there's any chemistry between those two, because they could be another decent little tag team we have. As far as the victor, let's go for Jack Pride. Actually, yeah, we'll go Jack Pride. Actually, let's give a debut victory to Charlie Corner. That might be a little bit more beneficial. Okay. So there we go. We obviously need to do angles and stuff like that. So let's do Americana. Let's actually do Americana on everybody. So let's go for Aussie. Let's go for Kamikaze in there as well. And then, of course, Art Reed. But he's going to be the only one on Entertainment that's actually going to be rated. I guess the storyline's going to be advanced there as well because of Kamikaze. We might actually change the storyline up. So where are we? We need to go to this one. We'll leave you. We'll take you out. We'll take Sinner out. Take Pepper out. I think we'll leave Primetime Jack Pride. Or we might take him out as well, depending on what happens with the tag division. Art Reed's going to go in. Where is he? Aussie's going to go in. And I think that's it. Maybe we go Gary Walker as well, but like I said, he might be in a tag division as well. So that should be fine for now. Okay, so the next thing we want to do, I want to see if we can actually give Gary Walker an entertainment angle. I'm kind of hoping we can, but it might be too much. No, it's fine. Okay, perfect. So that'll go there, and then I guess we'll go another angle for Charlie and Primetime Jack Pride. Potentially. Alright, so we can't do that. That's fine. We can get rid of this angle. I think for this, I want to actually have Robinson be the road agent for it. So we'll work the crowd with this match. Hopefully it's not going to turn the crowd off because they're all really bad. We'll make the tag match our storytelling because obviously they are essentially telling a story that they're kicking off the tag division, and it's going to be, should be a really good match. Should be a really good one. Okay, and we're going to need to get an announcer at some stage as well. Anyway, let's run this first show as a tiny-sized company. And of course, we've actually got tag matches. That's really cool. I'm happy with that. Alright, so we start off with a 23 rated tag match. Actually not too bad, considering. And we have Charlie Corner and Primetime Jack Pride defeating Original Sinner and Wicked Lester in 12:25 when Charlie pinned Original Sinner with a corner cutter. And yeah, Charlie Corner debuting his Rock God gimmick. So we might actually put him with the with Stan Manor and that whole tag team. They could be a little stable together. Maybe like 3MB? No, I'm only joking. Anyway, initial rating of adequate for that. Unfortunately, we had Primetime Jack Pride really off his game. But we have no positive chemistry in tag teams yet. Also want to mention, these two literally look like a tag team. So I'm really glad we got them in, or we got Lester in, to be Sinner's tag team partner. Alright, we then go into a 39 rated angle for Gary Walker, debuting the entertainment gimmick. Getting an initial rating of very good. It's not a bad little angle for him to start off on. Leading into his match, which gets a 28, where we have Gary Walker defeating Zippy Deverell in 11:31 by pinfall with a pants pull sunset flip. And we got Zippy debuting his Zip the Lip gimmick, getting an initial rating of great. And we also have Gary Walker getting better at his gimmick as well. Okay, interesting. Wins and losses have a greater impact on Zippy Deverell. Okay, good to know. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter, but anyway, moving on. Not as good as I thought it was going to be. We get a 27 for our first real tag team match with our real teams. And we do have the Rock City Stars defeating Young and Wasted in 12-11 when Rock and Ryan Turner pinned Brett Kyle with a 6-string shooter. Lots of gimmicks here. All of them actually pretty good. We got Stan debuting the Rockstar, getting an initial rating of great. Ryan Turner debuting the same gimmick, getting an initial rating of adequate. We've got Brett Kyle and Taylor both debuting Teen Idol gimmicks, and they both actually got very good. So that's beneficial. And they are also a tag team specialist, well, they are together. So that's pretty beneficial there as well. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Some real positives there for Rock and Ryan Turner. Microphone skill boost and a possible boost when made to look dominant. So, interesting. We then go into a 73 rated angle for Americana Jr. Of course, he is the only one actually rated on Entertainment in this angle. Basically cutting a promo against his 3 competitors that are vying for his world title here tonight. We've got a couple more gimmicks. We've got Pretty Boy Aussie for Aussie Goldstein's gimmick, getting an initial rating of great. And then we've got Art Reed debuting his Pure Athlete, getting an initial rating of very good. And the main event does pretty well. Our best ever match, I think. Yeah, because our 60 on at the end of last episode was our best. So we get a 62 rated main event here. We have Americana Jr. defeating Aussie Goldstein, Kamikaze, and Art Reed in 1948 when Americana Jr. pinned Art Reed with an American Crush, and Americana Jr. making defense number 6 of the CWC World title. Yeah. It's a really good match. We've got a 72 in-ring from Kamikaze, a 57 there. Sorry, from Americana. Kamikaze with a 57. 35 for Aussie and a 32 there for Art Reed. But that's a pretty good match. I'm happy with that. We finished the show getting a 54 overall rating for CWC Victory. Of course, our first show, increasing our popularity in one region. As far as praising goes, let's go Sinner. Who else do we need to praise? Kamikaze, obviously. And I think that was it. Let's go for Americana just in case. He might be a little bit upset because we did also only give him 50% of the wage that he wanted initially. So, which was really weird because he didn't actually have morale issues. Anyway, it's going to be a bit of a longer episode again, guys, because I do want to give you 2 shows instead of just 1 show. But let's have a quick look at size. So we're up to 19 popularity. But let me skip forward 1 day, and I want to see what happens. Are we going to be involved in a regional battle with essentially everybody? I'm a little bit worried about it. I mean, it kind of doesn't look like it. Yeah. I don't think we lost any popularity. I don't think we lost anything, to be honest. I think we're good. I think we're fine. I don't think we're actually in a regional battle. Perfect. Okay, well, with that said, actually, what we're going to do, we're going to change ticket prices. We're going to go back to normal. So let's save that. Let me actually, what is the difference? So obviously free is free. Hold on. What's going on here? I want to see the prices. Wait, what? What's going on here? Okay. So normal, we're up here, sort of. So we're getting about at least $10 per ticket. I mean, that should be pretty decent. So let's change that back to normal. Save that, and what we're gonna do, we're gonna run 2 shows per month. I want to see how that goes. So let's do that. Go back into events. Let's go to Coalition Wrestling. Monthly week 2, and we're gonna make that active again. Let me double check ticket pricing default. That's perfect. Okay, so 9 days. We have our next event. And I'm assuming what's going to happen here is we will probably... Actually, we might not even max out our popularity gains that we can get. Because I'm assuming that going up in size might increase the amount of popularity we can actually gain in 1 month. I didn't really think about that, because I did read it in the handbook, in the manual for 2020, that it did say that going up in size can affect the popularity cap for a company. Interesting. Either way, this sort of test that we're doing right now, more just to see the profit margin for attendance figures for the gate receipts, essentially. I want to see how much money we make from a show. Because obviously 1 show per month we were making, I don't know how much we made last month. I think it was like about 5,000, something like that. But if we're doing 2 shows and both the shows are really profitable through the attendance figures, we could be making a decent amount of money. And that would be, an ideal thing, especially leading into the 25 popularity that we need to get onto WrestleWorld. Because like I said in the last episode, there is a lot of associated cost with going onto that broadcaster. We've got to essentially upgrade all of our production values to a higher level. I think what we'll do on this show, though, for the main event, is we will have a #1 contenders match between Art Reed and... I don't know if I want to go Kamikaze or if we go... Yeah, it's a tough one, actually. Do we go Kamikaze? I think we might go Kamikaze. Alright, so let's get into this last show of the episode here. Who's absent? Oh. Typical Kamikaze. Alright, so we're only expecting 175, whereas last time I think we got... I can go back and check. What did we get? Show history. We got 230. So obviously there's a pretty big difference. But that should be fine. Because, of course, we're actually making money for the 170 fans or whatever. But I guess the main event for this show, we will do Art Reed. And I guess we'll go Aussie Goldstein. He's got 39 popularity. That should be good enough. What's Art's stamina? He's actually pretty good, 72. Alright, how can Art Reed be the road agent? That's silly. But I think we'll give Aussie the victory there. And I think Aussie will become our #1 contender. As far as the other matches, let's do some singles matches for our 2 sort of real tag teams. So Ryan Turner can take on Taylor Norton and Stan Manor. Well, we'll book the second match in a second. So those 2 can verse each other. Let's give Taylor Norton a victory there. I like that. Fine for Art Reed to be the road agent there. And then the next one we will go with Stan Manor and Brett Kyle. And we will actually give Stan Manor the victory in this one. I guess it's kind of 50-50 booking a little bit. But that's fine, because I feel like 50-50 booking with these teams is actually going to bring Young and Wasted up a little bit higher. So it's kind of my game plan there. In theory, we probably want to add a new team. So let's go and actually add in our boys properly. So Original Sinner and our boy Wicked Lester. Sinner and Lester. I mean, what do we want to actually make their team name? Brain Damage? I mean, the Mayhem Express actually sounds pretty fitting for these two. Doomsday Generation. I think that's perfect. I know it's only a generated name, but it actually seems pretty perfect, pretty fitting. And of course, Zombie Boy might possibly be joining them as a stable. So that kind of fits pretty well if we make that the stable name as well. There we go, Doomsday Generation. With our boys Lester and Sinner. Let's add them in a tag team match properly this time. And I guess they can take on... Let's go with Robin Newman and Bowden Snoop. I mean, these two could essentially be in a tag team themselves as well. That's kind of like a jobber tag team. Let's give Lester the victory here. Doesn't really matter who loses. Again, they're both kind of... They're probably going to be our resident jobbers, let's be real. I think we'll go that match there. Want that one to be storytelling as well. And I guess we got time for maybe one more match as well. Let's go for another tag team match. I think that's important. We want to, like I said, we want to try and find some chemistry. So let's go with Gary Walker. Let's do Gary Walker, Zippy Deverell together. And then let's go for Charlie Corner and Pepper Pelton. Let's go for Diaz and Gonzalez. Let's go for those two. They'll get the victory. Let's give Diaz the victory, of course. Diaz is one of the most impressive young wrestlers we have. And there we go. I might put them together in a promo. Yeah, okay, so for the main event, let's give Aussie a promo. Yep. Alright, so Aussie Goldstein, 8 minutes. Book that, that's fine. We'll then give... Yeah, I guess we'll just go Gary Walker and Zippy Deverell together. I mean, the success doesn't really matter because they're not actually together in anything yet. So let's do that. I want to see what happens with them. We could maybe do a menace angle for these two as well. Just like a 4-minute menace angle. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do a 4-minute menace angle together with Original Sinner and Wicked Lester as well. That'll go for 4. We'll put that before their match as well. Yeah, there we go. Angle with Doomsday Generation. Apparently Zippy's being used far too much. Let's reduce that down to 8 minutes. And that should solve that problem. Not really. Let's lower this as well, I guess. Go down to 6. Okay, there we go. Slightly being overused. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let's run the show. Alright, so we start off with a 43 rated angle between Gary Walker and his possible tag team partner in Zippy Deverell. Gary Walker doing a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd. A 43 is pretty good. considering Zippy hasn't really done much, apart from lose a match last week. We then go into their match. No positive chemistry, unfortunately, but we do get a 30 rating, and we have James Diaz and Marco Gonzalez defeating Gary Walker and Zippy Deverell in 7:55, when James Diaz pinned Zippy Deverell with a thunderous powerbomb. I much prefer that finisher over his Asian finger poke or whatever it's called. Thunderous powerbomb seems like a devastating finisher. Anyway, it's not a bad match. Pretty good. 32 in-ring for Gary and a 39 there for Diaz. We then go into a 33 rated match where we have Stan Manor defeating Brett Kyle in 12:05 by pinfall with a rock and roller. And both Stan Manor and Brett Kyle have great chemistry together. So that's a positive, at least in the singles matches. We've got some positive chemistry. We then go into a 22 rated Menace angle for Original Sinner and Wicked Lester. Might be worth putting Lester onto Entertainment and keeping Sinner on Menace. Could be interesting. Could possibly rate a little bit higher. Their tag team match getting a 23, where we have Doomsday Generation defeating Robin Newman and Bowden Snoop in 11:35, when Wicked Lester pinned Bowden with a flying elbow drop. And Newman debuting his underdog gimmick, getting an initial rating of great. And unfortunately, Bowden debuting his ultimate underdog gimmick, getting an initial rating of poor. So that kind of sucks. Luckily for Robin, losses do not damage popularity as much as usual, and gives a large boost to charisma during matches and angles. That's like the perfect squash person to be losing. I like Robin. Robin's good. These two are going to be a tag team, I think. The Job Squad. Jobbers. Job United. I don't know. Something like that. Maybe we'll call them Benefits. I don't know. We'll think of something. Maybe if you guys have a suggestion, leave it down below. The Newman Snoop team. We then go into a 34 rated match where we have Taylor Norton defeating Rock and Ryan Turner in 11:48 by pinfall with a tumbleweed splash. And Taylor actually outperforming Ryan Turner with a 32 in ring. Very interesting. I didn't expect that, but I guess Taylor's really good. Okay, I like it. We then go into a 45 rated promo from Aussie Goldstein, heading into the main event of our number one contenders match. Unfortunately, he struggled going off script. However, he got a 45. So that's kind of got me thinking that he's going to do pretty well once he performs off script. Yeah, I like that. And the main event, it does relatively well, getting a 47. And we have Aussie Goldstein defeating Art Reed in 20 minutes 15 seconds by pinfall with a golden shower. Perfect finisher name. Perfect way to end the episode. And Art Reed and Aussie have great chemistry as well. So we got some more singles chemistry together. However, we have zero tag team chemistry between anyone. We also have Aussie Goldstein getting better at his gimmick as well. So he finds himself as the number one contender for the pay-per-view for the month of February. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do against Americana. Alright, so we finish the show. We get a 42 overall rating, which is obviously a lot lower. However, we didn't use Kamikaze, and we also didn't use Americana for this show. Once again, I'm going to praise Original Sinner. Unfortunately, we don't have Kamikaze, so let's go for Taylor Norton, who really impressed me. And then let's go for, I guess we'll go for Aussie. Yeah, we'll praise all three of them. And there we go. Very nice. This has actually been a really cool episode. Another hour and 15-minute episode. Let's take a look at the popularity and, of course, the finances here. So, okay, so last month we actually only made 3,900. But how much did we just make through... We made 1,800 in ticket sales. Of course, we're going to get the full 8,600 at the end. Okay, so what's happened here is it looks like our ticket sales have at least covered our worker costs for that first show. So maybe we do go back to running one show. But with the ticket prices still set to normal. Interesting. What are the estimates? Okay, we're estimated at getting over 9,000 in sponsorship money. Okay. It's interesting. It's very interesting. And the size, we're actually up to 20. We actually went up to 20 popularity. This is a tough one. I'm not too sure what we're going to do for next episode. Obviously, we've got the next pay-per-view, Brutal Vengeance 2, in 16 days. So we're going to do that no matter what. But I'm wondering, because we need the money. We really need the money if we're going to try and get on to WrestleWorld. And we're still under 10k in the bank. So it's still a little bit touch and go. It's touch and go. We can make money. We know that. But it is touch and go. Anyways, it's going to be the end of the episode, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you did, drop a like on the video. I would greatly appreciate it. Show your support. Really does mean a lot to me. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I know a lot of you, for some reason, about 60% don't actually click the subscribe button, but you still watch all my videos. I know it's a weird thing. Some people don't like to subscribe to channels, but I do really appreciate every sub. And of course, it just helps you guys stay up to date with the content. And if you turn on the notification bell down below as well, that'll just notify you when these episodes do come out. And also, I've been putting out the community post just to reiterate when these episodes are going live. So hopefully, you know, those of you that don't get the notifications, maybe you're seeing that as well. And hopefully that's, you know, notifying you at least through another means that these episodes are going to be released. Anyway, apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy and goodbye.